Welcome to our Management Matters session on crucial conversations that change performance. If you're new to our series, Management Matters is part of the learning community here at Pew, where we're building relationships, collaborating, and sharing experiences so that we can all evolve as talent managers. My name is Nora Wace, and I'm on the Talent Management and Development team. I'm excited today to be interviewing Kasia Murray, a manager on the Antibiotic Resistance Project. Life has taught us all that communication is important. It's vital for managers to foster an environment with open dialogue, even when the conversations can be uncomfortable. We've heard of some of the benefits of having honest communication: team unity, productivity, higher performance, increased morale, and overall positivity. But if we are being honest, uncomfortable conversations are inevitable. When opinions vary, emotions run high, a lot is at stake, these conversations can be hard to navigate. In your management experience, it's inevitable that you come across some difficult conversations. Can you walk us through some of the experiences that you've had and kind of how you deal with these situations?
Sure. Critical, challenging conversations are definitely part of the management experience. One example of a particularly difficult conversation that comes to mind is a conversation I've had to have with a couple of coworkers who were displaying unprofessional behavior. And in one case, the unprofessional behavior was directed towards me. The person and I were engaged in a hallway conversation, and the person walked away, turned her back on me in the middle of the conversation. So to prepare for that conversation, I really tried to clarify what the intentions of the conversation were. I specifically wanted to be sure that I had good intentions, and that would be to improve the productivity and the functioning of the team, as opposed to coming at the conversation from the point of view of somebody who is personally offended by an action. The second thing I wanted to do was to really clarify what my message would be. When we're having difficult conversations, when emotions run high, as you said, I think derailment and getting off topic is a real possibility. And so to avoid derailment, it helps to really clarify in your own head what your message is, what message you would like the other person to walk away with from the conversation. So the higher level goals. And then another way to prepare for those kinds of conversations is to really be clear about the examples I'm bringing up and go over them in my head, but not to the point of trying to ascribe a motivation behind them. That's another key component, I think, is to just focus on the impact of the actions. In this case, the impact on the functioning of the functioning of the team, versus trying to psychoanalyze what's behind the actions. I think when you try to do that, that is an argument you don't want to be involved in, and you can't win.
It sounds like you handled a really difficult situation. And what would you say was the number one thing you had to do to put your mind in the right place to have the conversation?
I think really taking the time to clarify the intent of the conversation and get clarity around why I was having the conversation was really critical, and everything flowed from there.
And what was the outcome following that conversation?
It was really positive, and it was a really respectful conversation that I think in the end really built a lot of trust between the coworker and me. Not only contributed to a better working relationship between the two of us, but also did contribute to better functioning of the team as a whole.
So in addition to the crucial conversation you had with your colleague about unprofessional behavior in the workplace, do you have some other examples of difficult conversations that changed performance along the way or somehow impacted your experience as a manager that you can share with us?
Yeah, one other type of challenging conversation is one that deals with underperformance. And I've had different types of these conversations. Some have been with people who are underperforming and are really open to receiving that type of feedback. The other are with people who are not so open to receiving that type of feedback. And I think in both cases, it's really important to, again, prepare, focus on the impact of the actions, and really be clear about my own expectations as a manager. I think being clear about my expectations will help me convey those expectations clearly. Focusing on specific examples is another key ingredient, but also having my own ideas about how improvement can be achieved is really important. That said, I think it's also really critical to give the person the space to come up with their own ideas about how to improve performance. And I think that's important for two reasons. One is for accountability. It builds accountability when the person owns the ideas for improving performance. And the other is empowerment. In the case of somebody who may be either open to receiving feedback or not, we don't know why people are or are not open to receiving feedback. But in some cases, what may be going on is a feeling of defeatism. And what we want to do as managers is really empower the people we supervise to improve out of internal motivation to do so. So giving the person space to explore ways to improve performance helps with that. It also helps with, again, creating that a sense of trust and a sense that you want to convey to the people you supervise that you don't have all the answers. Nobody has all the answers. And for it to be a productive relationship going forward, you want to convey that you are a partner in that person's work.
We'd like to thank Kasia for sharing her experiences and tackling this important but sometimes difficult topic. We're looking forward to having you share your thoughts, experiences, and techniques for handling crucial conversations that change performance in our next Management Matters session.